We hear a lot about food growing in school, and at Food for Life, we strongly believe that every school has the potential to be a food growing school, whatever the space they have. And there's sort of many different models that we see of food growing, but they all sort of have a set of common factors that make it successful. Today, we're talking to Stuart White, who's the Food for Life lead at Blackwell Primary School in Derbyshire, and we're looking at what their approach has involved and the benefits to pupils, staff and the wider community there.
For the children, because of our area and because of the impact of the environment that the children are growing up in, being involved with Food for Life, with growing food and cooking their own food, it's had a huge impact on both their physical and their mental well-being, probably more important than ever with how things are at the moment. It's been great to get the children trying new things and being able to link with their families. So for instance, we have kept this going we've just been through a lockdown period, but the children have continued to grow and to cook at home. So that's really good news for us because it shows that the learning is embedded and it's being shared with the families. And in turn, they're getting the same benefits to their physical and mental health. They're trying things that they wouldn't otherwise. In terms of educational attainment, it is making an impact on the curriculum, particularly for children who may have special educational needs or who struggle in the traditional classroom environment. To be outside, to be in the fresh air, to be growing, to have the freedom, it really, really helps for them. For the staff, they're getting the benefits of building the link with the children. It builds the relationship in a different way to the classroom environment. It's a bit more relaxed. It gives them the chance to be creative, and it gives us the chance to be creative as well. And we've all been very involved with it. It's great for our professional development too. I know that we've been on some training, and we would definitely advise anybody else who's thinking of taking part in Food for Life or who are on the journey to take advantage of that.
That's fantastic, Stuart. What have been some of the challenges for food growing in school and sort of how have you tackled them?
First, as I'm sure it will be in every school at the moment, was capacity, staffing capacity in particular. The school leadership team, it's been very important to get them on board. We've been incredibly fortunate that our PTA have been wonderful throughout because they've added much needed capacity. They've been able to run activities in tandem with the school staff. So I would definitely say get people on board if you can get them to volunteer. Likewise, we've been fortunate that a member of our PTA is on the school governing body. So she has been very instrumental in advertising it, if you like, with the governing body, demonstrating the benefits. And then that in turn allows us to have a bit more leeway over resources. But following on to the next challenge, resources in actual terms has been a big challenge. We'll get onto this, I'm sure, a bit later, but we started with very, very limited resources, and it's all about being creative. And finally, I think the other challenge was to build the involvement with parents. So that's about reinforcing the messages about healthy food and growing. Many of our parents don't have the experience, so to them it's all new as well. And it's been new to us in school for teaching this and to encourage growing. But as we've already said, a lot of growing went home during the lockdown, as did cooking, and the learning does get there. So what I would say to anybody taking part is don't give up and keep at it, because it will get there eventually. It just takes a bit of time for that knowledge to make its way through to your wider community.
Can I ask you how you garnered support from other staff?
Well, for other staff, the best way of getting their support is showing what a benefit it's having to the children. I mean, every person who works in a school, and I'm sure this is not unique to my school, everybody wants the best for the children and to give them as many opportunities as possible. Now, as we've grown and as we've built our food group, our snack group, and our gardening club as well, as we've seen the great work that we've been doing, it not only attracts more children to the scheme, but it also attracts the staff. And we've had staff come and say, can I help? Can I run this? Can we link this with something else?
You mentioned there, Stuart, your gardening group, and I love the name of your gardening group, the Tough Tomatoes. How did you come up with that name?
Well, we handed this over to the children. We decided it was their club, so they needed to name it. So we had a bit of a competition. Children across the school were invited to choose names, and we had a voting box. So it turned into a bit of an exercise in democracy as well. And in the end, we picked some shortlisted names, and then the children voted for the one that they liked the best. And Tough Tomatoes was the resounding winner. After that, we made a logo for that. We've got some lanyards made that the children can wear, and we have different roles in the club as well. So we have garden leaders, growing leaders, all that kind of thing to build the responsibility, and the children absolutely love it.
Could you sort of give us your 3 top tips to a school starting out on their food growing journey?
Based on our experience, my absolute top 3. Number 1, I would say develop your network. So get the support there, get the support from your senior leadership. You need to have them on board. But use our example that it doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be time consuming, but the benefits are enormous. If you can, get your governing body on side, get your staff as engaged as they possibly can, and work with your wider school community as well. So if you do have a parent group or a friends of group, if you have a local community group, build up your network, because the more resources you have, the better, which leads on to number 2, where I would say be creative, and especially with resources. So see what you can get for free. See if you can get extras. See if people will donate, and go for the help. Go for as much help as you possibly can, because everything you can get widens the opportunities that you can give the children. But above all, and number 3, which I think is the most important of all, is make sure the children are having fun. If they're having fun and they're fully engaged and they don't realise even that they're learning and that it's a learning activity, then you are going to achieve, and you're going to achieve big. Because when the children are trying new foods, when they're making their own recipes and their own experiments, grow new plants, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can have failures along the way. It doesn't matter. That is another important lesson for the children to learn. But build it as a team and get everybody engaged and make the children feel like they've got ownership of it. That is the absolute key to it, to making it sustainable and to success.
Excellent top tips that other schools starting out on their journey can really take a lot from. So thank you so much for talking to us today and telling us about your experience and why food growing is successful in your school. Thank you very much.